Welcome to Vegas Hockey Hub here on PRConnectionsRadio.com, the voice of new media. I'm your host, Ian Rickelli. And on this edition of Vegas Hockey Hub Shorts, I want to talk about the Seattle Kraken for just a minute. Now, for anybody who is new to this channel, anyone who doesn't know what this is, the purpose of Vegas Hockey Hub Short is to give you a 5-minute breakdown on the rest of the hockey world. We mostly focus on the Vegas Golden Knights, Henderson Silver Knights, UNLV Rebels hockey. But from time to time, we like to do something different and like to go away from the Vegas hockey scene and talk about the rest of the league. And on this edition, I want to mention the Seattle Kraken for just a minute. And there's one important reason why. Because the Seattle Kraken very recently have developed a run as of late. This is a Seattle Kraken team who has won 7 of their past 11 games. Is also a Seattle Kraken team who has slowly been getting themselves back into the playoff hunt. As of this current recording of time, the Seattle Kraken is 8 points back from the 8th and final spot in the wild card. Now, this is the same Seattle Kraken team that is currently 8 points away from the Los Angeles Kings. They're a few points away from the Vegas Golden Knights. And when it comes to the Seattle Kraken organization, they have picked up valuable wins in the late February, early March category. I mean, this is a Seattle Kraken organization who has beaten teams like the Boston Bruins. They've beaten the Vancouver Canucks. They've beaten the Winnipeg Jets. They have gotten quality wins against good teams. But I do want to mention one important detail as we're talking about the Seattle Kraken. Are they going to be a playoff team this season? Are they a playoff caliber team? I do want to point out, when it comes to Seattle Kraken, they have right now 11 overtime losses this year. So yes, you have 28 wins. You have 24 losses. But the one important stat that could actually get you into the playoffs, we've seen a couple of years ago, we've seen as of late, that is, if you have a good amount of overtime losses, it can actually push you into a playoff spot. And the Seattle Kraken having 11 overtime losses, it could actually mean a possible chance of them getting into the playoffs. Now, is this practical? You know, with the last 18 games left in the season, is this a reality for Seattle? Is it possible? Can they do it and be a playoff caliber team in the last 18 games? Now, I want you to keep this in mind. They have to take on the Vegas Golden Knights twice in the final 18 games. They have to take on playoff contenders like Nashville. They have to go up against them. You also have to go up against Dallas. You have to go up against LA. You have to go up against Winnipeg. Minnesota, they're trying to compete for a playoff spot, still in contention as we speak. I mean, out of the 18 games left, the Seattle Kraken have to go up against at least 9 games against teams that are either in the playoffs right now or are contending for a playoff spot. The remaining 9 games actually could benefit the Seattle Kraken as they're taking on teams like the Montreal Canadiens. They're towards the bottom of their division. You have the Anaheim Ducks, who you have to face a trio of times in the last 18 games. They're one of the worst teams in hockey. The San Jose Sharks, who have been a doormat for majority of the league, you have to face them twice. So depending on what the schedule looks like and depending on what Seattle does in the remaining of their games, depending on how Jared McCann, Vince Dunn, and the rest of the guys like Joey Daccord do in Seattle, I'm going to put this on record right here, right now, that depending on how many wins and depending on how many overtime losses the Seattle Kraken have in the remainder of their schedule, do not be surprised if the Seattle Kraken either make it as the final wild card in the Western Conference or just miss out by a few points. Because this is an organization who, once again, in terms of momentum and in terms of actually building it up, they have done that over the last week and a week and a half. So, to answer the question here on this Vegas Hockey Hub short, are the Seattle Kraken a playoff? Are they going to be a playoff factor? I will say on this show that there is a possibility the Seattle Kraken do have a chance to make the playoffs. Now, this is Vegas Hockey Hub. I'm your host, Ian Rickelli. We do more shorts like this throughout the season, but if you want to learn more about the Vegas Golden Knights, Henderson Silver Knights, and UNLV Rebels hockey, go and watch all of the episodes and all of the stuff we do here on prconnectionsradio.com, the voice of new media.